is a topic that
So we are live
yeah.
now. Let's wait and see um, who is joining. Let's wait for about a minute for people to join. I did put it on 8:05, so we have until 9:05. We are going to do this for an hour today, talking about the influence of the African film industry, um, the influence of the African film industry on identity. So good evening again to another niche talk, and today we have a special guest. Before I continue, let me introduce my co-host, who's Grace. Hello, Grace. Thank you for joining
Hello.
again.
Hi.
And our guest host for guest host for today is Bualia. Good evening, Bualia. Thank you for joining again.
Hi, Janine. I couldn't resist. We promised and we had to deliver, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So today's topic is, and this is something that I wanted to do for a very long time. And thanks to Bualia, she brought in two producers. So tonight we are going to talk about the African film industry influence on identity. And with identity, actually, we are going to discuss um, natural hair. Last week, we discussed this phenomenon where I do believe, I have the feeling that a lot of Nollywood movies bring the message that natural hair equals poverty. The example that I always give is that as long as we talk about a poor village girl, that girl has natural hair, has her hair back in cornrows, wears an afro, but the minute she becomes someone, and that means the minute she marries this millionaire prince, the minute she has a corporate job, the minute she becomes a city girl, here comes the weaves and the wigs. The accent even changes. So she becomes a totally different person. With that, I have watched this and I've seen this in a lot of movies, in a lot of Nollywood movies, where I started to get the message and the feeling that what is being portrayed is that if you are natural, you are poor. Because as long as it's about a poor village girl, it's a natural girl. The minute she becomes someone, she loses her natural hair. So today we are going to talk about this topic, and I'm really really excited. We have three famous Nollywood producers with us, all of them award-winning producers, all of them from Nigeria, of course, because we're talking about Nollywood movies. I'm going to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. First of all, I would want to start with Obi. I'm going to add Obi to the stream. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Janine.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Welcome.
Walia. Good evening, Grace.
Hi, Obi. Good evening.
And next to Obi is Rhoda Wilson from the UK. Obi, you are in the UK, right? Or are you?
Yes, I'm in the UK.
Okay. Well, yes, also in the UK.
Rhoda
I
is in the UK, not Wale.
Rhoda,
Wale is not in the
sorry,
UK.
Rhoda's in the UK. Yes. Obi, would you mind to introduce yourself to the audience?
Okay, my name is Obi Emelonye. I'm
They're still tuning in. I think there's delay.
okay. Should I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so my name is Obi Emelonye. I'm a filmmaker. I call myself a storyteller, telling quintessential African stories with universal soul. So
Are we
I take
managing?
African narratives. Can you hear me?
The connection is not really helping. It's a bit choppy.
We may want to have them also using their phone connection at the same time.
I have actually moved from my
Wow.
laptop to my phone to try and improve the connection, but
Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and
Well, we just continue in the meantime.
okay. So that's about me. I'm a teller of African stories. I have a universal platform. I have a world stage to tell it. It's a privilege.
We're experiencing the same problem we have in our countries, experiencing here in Europe. How do we expect our countries to have up to date with the digital technology? Yeah.
You tell me. it's anyway. I think there's not much to be said about my introduction. That's about me. That's who I am. I make films. I tell African stories, and I share them with the world.
Okay, thank you. Next is Bwalia. Bwalia is also a Nollywood producer. Welcome, Bwalia. Would you mind to introduce yourself?
Rhoda.
Rhoda. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know what
No,
I
I
have.
was going to say Brolia. That is nice, you know.
I don't mind being a Nollywood producer, you know, but Rhoda, I don't want to take your position, please.
Please come. There's lots of space here. You can come and join me. I need a lot of people next to me. So
I don't know
please.
if we would be able to take the stress from Rhoda.
Yeah, my name is Rhoda Wilson.
Is she on as well, or she's also having problems?
No, I'm on. I'm just waiting for you to finish so I don't have to cut you halfway through your conversation. So my name is Rhoda Wilson, and I'm a UK Nollywood producer and director. I actually love TV series and also producing for kids. So I have got a fourth movie coming out to do with Christmas and basically embracing children. One of the things
don't
I
mind
want
me.
to do,
I'm online. I'm just trying to take headphones somewhere.
Okay, so one of the things I want to do and which I would like to do in future is to create a legacy for our kids and for them to fall in love as well with Nollywood. Because if we don't get them interested at the moment, then all this hard work of what I'm doing and what OB is doing will go to waste, you know. So that is me really. I like working with kids. I do a lot of production training as well with children, like workshops and so on. So that is me.
Thank you very much. Okay, before we start, if you would allow me, I want to read out the post. I don't know if you saw it, the post that I sent out today on Facebook. And that is actually what I would want to discuss today. So if bear with me a minute, I'm going to read out what I posted today.
Okay.
Black women have fought against the one-sided European beauty standard. We have protested against the one-sided portraying of beauty and the way beauty should look like. We rejected the forced one-sided message on how beauty and success supposedly look like. We demanded for a change in the lack of representation of women of color in the media. The message was clear. People want to be able to recognize themselves when watching TV, a commercial, or reading a magazine. We need and want to see more role models that looks like us. We want to change the one-sided European beauty standard into a multi-Euro beauty standard. The media and the people shown in the media should be a reflection of the world we live in. Black should be considered beautiful as well. Unfortunately, we still have a very long way to go, and the fight is still going on. And it's not only the European standard. We see the same tendency in the Indian and Asian media. I recently saw a short interview of a Congolese model living in Hong Kong. She had a hard time finding modeling jobs because of the color of her skin. Dark-skinned in the Asian world apparently was poor. So then forget about the European or Asian or Indian film industry. It is a good thing that luckily there is a whole industry out there that is for people like us, for people of color, where we can recognize ourselves, where we see the role models that look like us. So I thought, as a natural hair therapist, I often look at how natural hair and the acceptance of that fits in all this. to my surprise, the film industry that I thought would portray us, women of color, is using the same beauty standards as the European, Asian, and Indian industry. After watching a lot of Nigerian, Kenyan, and Ghanaian movies, I see the same message popping up. Whenever there's a poor village girl being portrayed in a movie, she wears her hair natural in an afro or cornrow. However, the minute this poor village girl marries the rich billionaire prince or lands an office job or becomes successful in any other way, here comes the real human hair, wigs and weaves. The message that I have seen over and over again is simple. Natural hair stands for poor. You need to wear a weave or a wig if you want to show that you are successful. The Nollywood industry, the Nollywood industry on every level helping to keep this European beauty standard alive. That is, I'm going to bring Bualia in.
Okay. We can let's
So this is what I posted today on Facebook. And I had a brief conversation before this show started. I had a brief conversation with you, Obi. And I would like to start with you to tell me what your take is on this.
Okay. Thank you for having me. At first, when Bualia told me about this, I was wondering what I was doing in this forum because, as you can see, I have no hair. So I am kind of the wrong person to speak to about hair. But I
no, can we call them to speak from the? Can we switch to Zoom?
No, we cannot because we are streaming live on Facebook.
Because none of the three are managing through.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I can hear Obi okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear everybody.
I'm saying none of the three are managing through. Zubi says yes, he can actually connect through my phone. I don't know.
I did see Subi here. I did see him here. He left. So he should just click on the link and he will be in the stream.
He's on the stream, but he can't get on. But is Rhoda answering? Speak to Rhoda.
I'm fine. I'm actually okay. I can hear everybody. I can hear Obi. You know.
Okay, because people are watching. This is not going well. I would like to hear Obi's take on what we are discussing today. The message that the Nollywood industry is giving to the people. Natural hair is poor.
All right. Oh, okay. So let me rehash myself. I feel that the African identity has several facets, and you mentioned hair. Hair is only a very small aspect of the identity. I have just like Rhoda, we had an opportunity to be UK filmmakers making urban UK films, but we chose to tell African stories.
Correct.
And in making that choice, we understand that there is a moral responsibility to put a mirror in front of our society. We cannot manufacture the society. What we do as filmmakers is to put a mirror in front of it to say, look at thyself. You understand? So just like leadership, every society deserves the leader that it produces. America deserves Donald Trump, I'm sorry, because of where they've come from and where they've been heading all this while. So the film industry is a microcosm of society. It's you know, how many filmmakers are there? Nollywood has exploded exponentially internationally because it is telling our authentic stories. So I told Walia when she contacted me for this, and I said, look, unless you make it contractual with an artist that they have to wear their hair, then there's really nothing much you can do. Because if you look at the society itself, you look at role models, you look at Michelle Obama, for argument's sake. You look at Oprah Winfrey, for argument's sake. The message that they're sending is what the Nigerians are responding to. And even though you are seeing them in the films that we make, it is not our making. I have a makeup artist, and I tell the makeup artist, look, I want a natural look. I don't want heavy makeup. And the question really, I think that's where we should start. The question is really narrowing it down to hair. What is African hair? Is it dreadlocks? I go to a film festival and half the men there are wearing dreadlocks. Look, where I come from, a village called Omumisiako in Idato South local government area of Imo State, Nigeria. There are only 3 people when I was growing up that had dreadlocks. One of them was a pastor, a spiritual man who rang bells down the stream every night. And the other 2 were mad people. So the question is dreadlocks African hair? Where I come from, which is the core of the village in Nigeria, nobody wears that kind of hair. So we have to first identify what is the African look. Is it makeup? Our sisters now wear makeup so much that they look like kabuki masks. You can't even recognize them.
Oh, Bio.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, when I was working on Last Flight Abuja, one of my artists would enter the makeup room and not come out for 3 hours. When she comes out a different person. And I had to stand on that because that wasn't her area. Her area it wasn't like intruding into her personal life, which is what hair she wears. But this was what she presented. I cast the person, and I want that person I cast to be on the screen, not somebody painted by the makeup artist. I guess I will stop there for now and hear what everybody else says.
Thank you. And I do get the point that you are saying. However, my take on this is that as long as we keep portraying something that the so-called society is, because the society is looking at others, and if they want to feel, last week we had this same conversation, and there was a girl here that says there are women in Nigeria that are spending $1,000 on hair just to give the impression that they have made it, and it's a false sense of impression. And I do believe that it is possible, because I had the honor to work with Rhoda on her latest movie as a natural hair consultant, and I'm honestly very proud, because I discussed this with Rhoda, and she came back and she said, you know what, you're right. So in the movie, everybody wears his natural hair. So although the queen could be rocking her natural, her weave and her wigs, Rhoda made sure that since it is an African movie, everybody in the whole cast, the whole crew, and even the crew, I think, had natural hair. So it is possible. You are saying that we are portraying the industry is portraying the society. But what about changing the society by portraying something different?
So that's where we come in now. You know, the film industry, like I said, has a social responsibility, has the power for what is called social engineering, and that power is not an absolute power. That power is not a miracle power. It doesn't change overnight. What happens is that we have an indoctrination process that starts and gets people to rethink their positions. Because I don't know how you force everybody, including crew, to wear their natural hair on Rhoda's project. I would like to see their contract.
Yes.
You know, because there's so much you can impinge on people's lives. You know, who are you to tell them how to wear their hair? So it is a sugar-coated pill approach that is required, so that we start to sensitize our audience, our viewers, and say, look at her, she's beautiful, and she's just wearing her hair. That's all I can say. I'm not going to say, hey, 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 you must wear your hair, otherwise you go to hell. No. So that responsibility that we have is for a gradual, organic, systematic process of change.
Yeah.
It is not something that happens overnight. So in my TV series that is running on Netflix right now called Crazy Lovely Cool, I made the attempt without really overstepping my bounds as a producer and director to try and make sure that most of the people, some people refused outright and said, I'm not going to wear my hair because that's not me. And I didn't have a say in it. I could not decast them based on that. I worked with them, and the people that agreed changed their hair to natural hair, and I felt it looked good. And I can see that kind of gradual change. I can see most of the Nollywood influencers who are making that change themselves and becoming the change. And that is the only way it's going to happen. It is not something that is like a silver bullet that you do it and it happens. So it's a gradual process, and renaissance takes time. When it does happen, it gets rooted and embedded. At the moment, it's coming gradually, but we have to be patient. And it's not just the responsibility of the film industry. Like I said, I mentioned celebrities globally, Black celebrities globally, and how they influence other people who want to be like them. And I think that conversation needs to start in every sphere of African life, in the diaspora and at home.
Well, my take is
Thank
that
you.
thank you, Obi. But my take is that, I mean, yes, the film industry. I mean, why we took on to Nollywood is that you have so much influence in the entire continent. Everybody watches the movies. So if they all they see is that, because I've seen a gradual change also in Southern Africa, where a lot of girls have always been comfortable just being natural hair. But because of you've also seen a trend of a lot of them seeing all these hair on their Nollywood actresses that they change and they want to adapt to it. I mean, there's always a learning process from back and forth. I mean, some regions are a lot more prone to. I think the closer they are to what they feel that they're maybe closer to Caucasian influence, they have a lot more of that tendency. But I mean, the film industry definitely would make a big difference. But
Yeah.
this conversation also goes a lot further than the film industry. But I can say even the girls like on the streets in Antwerp or in Belgium, everybody's watching Nollywood movies. I mean, a lot of Africans watch Nollywood movies. It's their biggest influence. So I think starting from there would already be a
It's
starting
already
point for
started.
solution,
It's
because we
already
cannot
started.
touch Hollywood is bigger than Nollywood is at the core of our identity as on the African continent. So if we can start from there having this discussion, it's already a big step. And I think it's also something that Roder, Zubi, all our filmmakers documentaries try as much as possible when you are speaking to also just talk about these issues. How do you feel? Do you want to have natural hair? Do you want to have this? And what does it make you feel about that? I think it's not just a question of asking somebody, no, I want you to have natural hair. What if that person, some people have weave-ons because they practically don't have any hair at all because of the chemicals that they've used on their hair. So, and some people are because of the cancer or whatever, they cannot wear natural hair. So I think the question shouldn't be just condemning just everybody that's wearing not natural hair. It's on the individual level. Ask them when you're working with them as actresses, what
But
makes you feel comfortable. If I
I
gave
would
you the
like to I
choice,
would like to
you
give
can
the
go
word to Rhoda because Obi just asked the question, how did Rhoda get everybody, her crew and her cast to wear their natural hair? Rhoda, could you respond to that?
um, when Jenny came to me with the idea, I loved the idea. And the storyline we had actually made wearing natural hair possible. So when I spoke to the cast and the crew and said, "This is exactly what I want. This is the look I want. Go out there and create it. I want natural hair for everybody." on the set, and everybody loved the idea. I think my crew and cast, I cannot thank them enough. They were extraordinary. They embraced it. And Jenny, who was the hair consultant, also worked with the hairstylist and the makeup artist, because it's not just about the hair, it's about the makeup as well. And if you know the history of makeup, makeup actually started in the Egyptian era. You know, makeup actually came from Africa when the Egyptian wore makeup. But over the period, over I suppose centuries, we haven't grasped the idea of how to apply makeup. That's why sometimes when you see makeup in certain people, it doesn't look right. But talking about hair, everybody embraced the idea. Everybody loved the fact that we're trying to do something that would promote Africa from a natural perspective. And going back to why people, just quickly, I wanted to touch on that, why most filmmakers tend to use weave and so on and so forth in their hair is because that is what sells the movie for them. Most of them don't have that confidence to say to themselves, you know what, I'm going to get my cast or my cast to wear natural hair, because they feel that if they have natural hair on their movie, the marketers or other people wouldn't watch it. For me, I believe that my movie sells to the point that if my crew and my cast buys my idea of natural hair, it will sell, because that is the self-belief I have in myself. So I believe it's because, firstly, because money-wise, marketers believe that that is what sells. And secondly, as a director and a producer, I'm speaking for my own self. I always go to my cast and crew and say, this is my dream. Can you make it possible? And they work with me to try and get to, if they don't like my idea, and I must admit, most of the time they come to me and say, look, whether I don't think that will work. I say, okay, how do we make it creative in a way that it will work for me and work for the audience we're looking to serve? So that is how I work, and that is how it happened on the set of Christmas with the King. And this is the first time, I must say, Obi, that I've actually bought into the idea of natural hair. To be honest with you, I never thought about it in the past. It's never occurred to me that it was a problem. Not a problem, tell a lie, it's not a problem. It never occurred to me that there is an opportunity to be embraced with natural hair until Jenny came to me and said, look, why don't you? And I thought, okay, great, a good idea. So that's what I did.
I think a day starts the job. Whenever you wake up, it's your morning, and you've woken up. And one day I would wake up myself. My encounter with the criticism of our films first happened in America in 2013, 2012, when I went to the Seattle International Film Festival with Last Flight to Abuja. And during the question and answer session, a young lady in the back stood up and said, why is it that every young lady in the film is wearing fake hair? And I wasn't prepared for that question. And I said, well, because they see Beyonce and Michelle Obama and all the celebrities that they respect, they see them wear it. They see Americans, and coincidentally, the lady herself was wearing, a black lady, she was wearing a wig of fake hair. And I said, they see people like you, they look up to people like you, and that's what and I'm not creating a world. I am working with the world that I see in Nigeria.
I agree.
And while I want that world changed, I cannot change it by myself.
I agree.
Like I said earlier on, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be structured in an organic way. So Rhoda mentioned, commercial viability of the project becomes a consideration. It's never crossed my mind that if my actors decided to use their natural hairs, it would affect the commercial viability of the project. I don't think so. But it's a personal choice. And that's what I'm telling you. Where does my control as a director producer of the actor stop, and the actor's own control of their lives begin? where does it, where is that line? And when do you cross it? So it is up to you to have an idea or philosophy about natural hair, but it's also for your actors and the people you're working with to buy into it. If they don't, what are you going to do? Play all the roles yourself?
But I agree with you, Obi. I think for me, I was fortunate that my cast and crew bought into the idea. And the children as well, they embraced it as well. And their parents supported it. So I totally agree with you on that count that where does the line, where do you draw the line? You just have to present it to people and say, hey, this is my idea. Would you like to buy into it? And that is what you can only do. And I don't know what else to say to that. I just feel that they bought into the idea. My next movie, I'm going to go for natural hair. I'm going to continue to embrace it. And I would like to think that if anybody that's going to work with me, I'm going to say to them, this is what I want to embrace. And I hope they like the idea and buy into the idea. You know, I mean, obviously it's going to be whilst they're on set. Once they leave my set, they can do whatever they want. If they want to wear natural hair, long hair, then that is up to them to do so. So I totally agree with you. There needs, you know, sometimes where do you draw the line?
But when a filmmaker writes a script, right? This is a question that I have. You have a character in mind, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you go out and you look at the character. So I think it's by saying now that you cannot force people to do a certain way or to look a certain way. This is why some actors do not get the role and others do, because they fit and they work with what the producer is asking. Am I not right?
So sorry, come again. I didn't get that. Come again.
So if you would look for, if you are a film a producer, the script says we need a woman with certain features. Then you go out and you look for a woman with certain features. So the woman that does not have these features will not fit the role. So why then do you say that I cannot tell someone what they should look like or what they should do when it's your movie?
No, let's discuss casting now, because I think you need to understand the industry to understand the limits of our power as producers. So when you want to cast a film, there are two levels of casting. The first level is what is called star casting. And it does exactly what it says on the tin. It is star casting. You are casting the people who would carry the film, not just with their name and their brand, but with their performance. So these are the people who are leading the film, who will carry the weight of the film in terms of their performance, who will also lend some kudos to the production because they have a brand. They have 60 million followers on Instagram and on Facebook. That is one level of casting. And in that level of casting, to be clear, that level of casting is the people arrive as they are. So if you want Beyonce in that role, Beyonce arrives in that role and the role has to adjust to her, as opposed to she adjusting to the role.
Okay.
So if you cast Genevieve, Genevieve in a role, let me land. If you cast Genevieve in a role, you do not say the role demands that Genevieve would have hair
short or long,
hair, or short or long. Genevieve has got the gravitas as her, in level she has attained in her industry to say, this is who I am. The contract says it. I just shot the film with a young man last month. And in the contract, it says that his hair will not be cut. He's a man, not even a woman. But the contract mentions that his hair should not be touched. So because he's up to a certain level in his career, and that is where the problem lies. These people who are the stars of the film, because they have attained a certain level in their work, they come with a certain advantage, which means that your opportunity to influence them is very limited.
Correct.
After you finish the star casting,
just say something, because I mean, what are you talking about the cast? I mean, from a young age, when I used to go to the theater club, already, I mean, that time there wasn't much of Vivons about. I mean, we're talking about the late 80s, 90s. When you came to the theater club and you were casting for a theatrical piece, it's like you mentioned, Obi. The directors took you as you came in because they looked at other qualities. It wasn't so much about your hair, but if you came in dressed in a different way, they considered you for the qualities of your being able to express or to deliver the piece, the theatrical piece. That's the way it was, and I think in a way, I think it's a two-way sword. I think
No,
we
no,
also have to
well,
make a
I
distinction.
have to
No,
look at
what
it
I
this
wanted
way.
to say, we need to make a
I need
distinction
to
between
explain.
the African continent and our diaspora people, really our diaspora people that have been like in the US, that have had different consequences. Because of those consequences, they were obliged to behave in a certain way that they would normally not. But we have a choice. Like we are not forced to look like Beyonce on the African continent, for
No, no,
instance.
so,
We
so,
can
so
also, yeah.
well, you should let me land, please, because I was trying to make a point, and that, I've only made one half of that point, which is that the stars you cannot control. But if you are looking for the sister to the star, you could write that the sister to the star has cornrow or has a hair tied anyhow. And
Supporting
that
person.
now you now look for somebody that has those characteristics. It is not you have the model of the character that you want, the actor that you want, and you go find them. But if the stars come as they are. If you're casting a Motala in a film, you're casting a Motala, she will come in. Sometimes they come with their own clothes. All you have to do is vet it and say, okay, that goes, that doesn't go, that try this. And unfortunately, that is the way the industry works. So with the small actors, you have a lot of influence. If
Yeah,
you're
that
very
is true. I was
responsible
just
for,
about to say you have, and for me, Obi deals with the big stars. For me, I deal with the small to the medium stars. For me, because they are the one that are going to propel those small stars. They're going to become big stars one day. So if I influence them now to say, listen, this is what I believe and this is what I think, hopefully when they get to the A lists, they would have some of my influence in them. So I agree with the OB that when you have some big names like that on your set, it's very difficult to influence them. But if you start them young and then gradually monitor them and mentor them, I'm not saying that they're going to follow your mentorship to the top level, but at least there'll be that tiny influence for them to embrace it without feeling ashamed
Well,
about it.
yes, thank you. Well, yeah, I haven't heard Grace her opinion in this.
I mean, I watch not a lot of Nollywood movies, but for me, I would say that, I mean, I'm wearing my hair natural, so it's just for today. I decided to put a head wrap on my head, but basically for me, representation is really important, especially for children. Um, as a child, I never had the representation of a Black person wearing her natural hair. It was always like wearing weaves or having like straight hair. So for me, the representation of a Black person I need to have a straight hair to be beautiful, to look beautiful. Even if natural hair, with the time I realize that right now, that the natural hair is so versatile, you can do anything with the hair. And I would actually applaud someone, an actress wearing her natural hair, than the one wearing her weaves. I mean, of course, she does whatever she wants, but it's also like Rhoda did, is you need to be convinced yourself. And if you're convinced yourself about, okay, the cast needs to wear natural hair, and you tell that to the person, even to the big stars. I mean, I know that they also, I mean, if I don't know exactly how it works, but I know that if you're convincing the big stars, or if you're trying to convince people about something that you believe in, I think it would be easier. And I know that a lot of people might say, no, I don't want to do that movie, and it would be somebody else. And at the end, I mean, the film would still be great. I mean, I heard a lot of movies not about women, but For example, the movie about Matrix, for example, normally was to be it was supposed to be Will Smith, the first role, but at the end he declined, and it was Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves
Piano.
got it, and you know, when I heard that story, I was like, "What?" I was pretty surprised, but I don't know what convinced Keanu and not Will to do the movie. But at the end, the movie was great. So I would say if you don't have Beyonce, but you have her sister, who is really great. I mean, I would prefer to go with Beyonce's sister than with herself, just because of the name. So yeah.
Yeah, but
Grace, Grace,
yeah. Go
I
ahead.
hear you. I hear you loud and clear. But you have to understand the pressures that the filmmakers are under.
Oh yes,
This is not a philosophy thing. It is not about what I believe. It is my business. It is what works. It is what sells. It is a commercial industry. It's not a French-funded film industry like you have in Francophone African country where the piper dictates the tune. No, this is somebody like me who will blackmail my family, borrow, beg, and get the money together to make a film, and you want me to risk it on the issue of a hair of something that somebody is wearing?
No, but I mean,
while it is a responsibility, like I said, it is not just my responsibility. My responsibility is to tell the authentic story that I want to tell. And if natural hair is intrinsic in that story that I'm telling, I will ensure that natural hair shows. If it is not, then it becomes an option. And once it remains an option, the actor and myself have the option to say, yes, do it, or no, let's make the film, and in the next one we'll do it. So the pressures that we are under, not just to deliver on the project in a way that makes sense artistically, but to make the money to be able to do it again. That is an important consideration that you need to have.
Then I have a question. In what situation would natural hair be intrinsic for the movie?
I mean, for Christmas with the King. Sorry, go for it. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Rhoda.
For me, based on the storyline, I knew natural hair would work. So it's a story about a queen in Africa, and she's going to look for her sister. And the setting itself is an African utopian Christmas movie. So natural hair works for me. So when I speak from my own experience. I speak from what I know, and basically that's it really. So maybe for OB's film, it might be different. But for this particular movie, for Christmas with the King, it did work. And my subsequent movie, I don't know, and series, no doubt I'll be embracing natural hair. I'm not so sure whether TV series it will work, because many of the TV series are more seasoned, I should say, actors and actresses. Maybe not all of them would like to wear the natural hair. But for my Christmas movies, which I love to do, I would definitely consider it going forward, embracing the natural hair. And maybe when I do the script, write the script in a way that would embrace that. And I think it will sell. I think, the storyline is important. The hair is just one part of the storyline. Is the acting, is the set itself, and so on, and the delivering of the dialogue that becomes a package for the film. So it's not just the hair, but yeah. So that is just I wanted to add.
Okay, but then yeah, sorry. So I mean, just saying, I know that what the remarks that Janine made is that basically poor equals natural, and I would say money equals weaves and wig. Why not? I'm just saying like that, and maybe a bit crazy, but why not the poor village girl could not wear wigs and weave? So because it would be, I mean, just saying. I said it's a bit crazy, but it's just that's the image of how natural hair is in people's mind. That the fact that wearing natural hair means you're poor in those movies, and then when you have extensions, you look famous and you have money and etc. Why not? I know it's the completely crazy, but why not? Then from the beginning, the person could wear extensions or weaves and wigs. And
But that is what society wants sometimes. I mean, I'm just thinking, whilst we're talking, I was thinking of Cinderella. Cinderella was cleaning the house, but as soon as she became married the prince, she was all dolled up. You know, she had the cat, she had everything. She couldn't have had that if she was who she is as a Cinderella cleaning the
Authenticity.
house. So in a way, I think it's what the society see. But
There's got to be a balance in all this. I mean, we're talking about Africa is also a continent. The place of Africa I come from, a person like me in short hair is never considered poor, believe me or not. We've always adored in Southern Africa, and most part of Southern Africa, we've adored our natural hair. The whatever we wear is actually not a representation of your status, because we have a choice about our hair. I know that a lot of girls will gravitate to Brazilian hair, whatever, or anything else, but on the streets when I'm walking in most parts of Southern Africa in hair, that's actually a lot of people appreciate that a lot more than the opposite. So in this context, we also have to contextualize the region of Africa where how hair is perceived. Where I come from, hair has to be as
don't forget, film is visual. People need to see. You walking down the street with natural hair is beautiful, but in movies, people want to see something different. You know, it's just the way it is. I mean, I love natural hair. I'm not going to condone it, but I'm just trying to let you also understand why sometimes filmmakers perceive natural hair as not a visually interesting sight on set. And whereas if you're poor, it's good to portray that, and when you're rich, it's good to portray you with not long hair, Brazilian hair, or whatever it is people wear these days. So it's,
exactly, yeah,
you know,
exactly. But it's also like a concept in where you are from in the part of on the continent as well. You know what I mean? There's many parts of it. We come from, like, I come from Zambia. We have a lot of gemstones, a lot of precious stones, a lot of, but we don't adorn ourselves with gold and emeralds and things like that. When I'm wearing my just beads and things like that, I'm more comfortable than wearing gold or other things, which we have actually. We've had them at our disposal, but it's a concept that's also varied within the context. But of course, if the movies are portraying that, the girls on the street that don't have much information will take that as the ideal. But I do not expect a professional African woman in my region actually to consider that as the I'm just playing the devil's advocate from being for and other, because I have the freedom to choose how I want my hair to be. If I want it to be in a weave, I want it to be in a weave, not because I'm thinking that, yeah, I'll be perceived to be rich or poor. If I want it to be short, this is how that environment where I come from, that part of the continent, people perceive themselves. It's also completely different.
we just, I don't know, Obi, I don't know whether you want to say anything to this, but I think it's
Sorry, you finish.
no, you have landed, you know.
So I was going to Wale was trying to do a geographical African division of how people see their hair, and Southern Africans are more likely to like their natural hair than maybe West Africans.
Oh, no,
So long as
darling.
no, that is what I deduce from what you're trying to say, and there might be an element of truth in it. But the point I'm trying to make is this: that Janine is a natural hair expert.
Yeah.
She will tell you that my wife wears natural hair. She's been wearing it since 2010. And I know how much more expensive it is
Yeah,
for her to
it
wear
is.
natural hair
Exactly.
It is.
And how do we still portray that
so
natural hair is poor?
the question is, people like Janine, and I'm sorry to say this, but unfortunately, if we're going to tell the truth, we have to tell the truth to authority. People like Janine who are administering natural hair, exploiting the, the cultural renaissance that needs to happen. Are they putting a price tag to it that scares people away? Because if you buy a shampoo for textured hair or straightened hair for £5, the natural hair shampoo will be £25.
Exactly.
That's true. That's true.
That's true. You know?
Means that it becomes more expensive and becomes a lifestyle choice
Yeah.
for somebody who can afford it than for somebody who's struggling, who will just put on a wig and leave the house. It becomes convenient for them. It becomes cheaper for them. And that is like I said, we are simply putting up a mirror in front of
We always
society
have to balance.
to show them their own reflection. And that is what the films reflect.
Yes.
I guess the best thing to do.
Can I touch on that? Can I touch on that? First of all, exploiting, I don't think we are exploiting. First of all, what we are doing is bringing information to people on how they can work with their hair in a different way. Second of
Why does
all,
it have to be so expensive?
that depends on what you think is expensive, because I have a known product line. Yes.
Compared
No.
to the other.
Yeah, I can tell you that. I can tell you that. I am a product formulator myself, so I formulate my products myself. I choose to use certain ingredients because of the fact that Black women have been using a lot of cheap products for decades, which as a result gave them different kinds of cancer, fibroids, all these kinds of things. It is very cheap to relax your hair, but the price you have to pay for that is breast cancer, is fibroids, is infertility. Is that the price we want to pay? I am using, no, can I finish? I am using ingredients that are less
About just natural hair. We're just talking about the products for natural.
We need to be careful what information we give out, especially on a forum like
no,
this.
but I am giving information from a point of view.
Yeah, but we don't want to give people the
without empirical evidence to talk about people getting cancer and fibroids from hair products.
Yeah,
that's true.
That is true. There are
No, that is
research.
true.
You really need to. You really need to do your research. You really need to do your research.
That's not from natural hair. That's from chemicals.
That is from chemicals.
I can understand.
That's what I'm saying.
There's chemicals in everything we do. There's chemical in water. There's chemical in coke.
I know.
How do you distinguish the chemical that causes cancer?
Yeah, and yeah, I do get what you're saying. Everything is chemical. Everything is chemical.
It's very expensive to maintain in where we are.
I'm challenging that position because it is not factual. If it's not empirical, so you cannot say it and without challenge. And that is what we have to do to kind of interrogate our facts to make sure that we're giving out information that is correct, that is not misleading. No matter how passionate we are, we have to stick to the truth.
I totally agree. Yeah, I do agree. But Jenny, I take it that this is based.
We were talking about our identity. I think, regardless of whether chemicals or whatever, but how do we want to portray ourselves as a people? This is the concept we wanted to highlight tonight. I mean,
but I do think that it's important to discuss what Obi brought up
out there. I think this is what we should wind up. How do we want to portray ourselves out there? Do we want to stick to the standards that have been set for generations when we're in the diaspora, set by other people? Do we want to embrace the standards because we have a lot of natural hairstylists on the continent, and even in Nigeria, Abuja or Lagos, I see a lot of beautiful natural hairstyles, and everybody embraces them. The majority embrace that. I mean, it's not the majority. We're not talking about the majority, and people love that. But how do we want to see ourselves? Do we want to see ourselves on the standards that I mean, this is
There's no standard. Let me just jump in because I don't know how long we've got before we.
no. I mean, not like standard, but how do we want to? Who do we want to be? Who are we? How do we
We are
see
who you
ourselves?
are. We are who we are. You
So
can't. You
this,
know. We are who
this is
we
the
are. We
question.
can't.
I
We
think
can't. We can't. For me, I speak for myself that I would never impose myself and my belief onto somebody else. I can only tell them what I believe and say, this is what I want you to achieve. Come on board and support me. In terms of the hair movement and the hair, using hair as identity, when I'm on set, I encourage it. But when people leave the set, I have no control over people. I can only say when you're on my set, do you like it? I would like you to embrace it, and I like you to wear the hair that way, and that's it. What people do after that, it's and when I put out my movie, I can only promote it to say, okay, this lady had natural hair. I can see Wendy Okoli, who played Queen, is online, and she's also asking questions. She wore natural hair throughout.
Yeah.
And and when you see the movie, you see how beautiful she looks. So I'm hoping that when
Hi,
people see
Wendy.
that movie, they'll be inspired. But to say that I'll force her for next time, I can't impose her
no,
beyond my
that you
movie.
cannot, and we have to accept each other as we are. People, yeah.
Can I mention something? I know I've been talking a lot today because I'm really passionate about this subject. I've become very passionate
Oh,
about it.
Oh, Obi,
whoa.
you that have no hair, you that have no hair, you
I've
that
actually
have no hair.
I've
How
got
can
hair.
you become passionate
I've
suddenly?
got, I've
The
got hair.
first question
You
he
are
asked is,
not.
what am I
Okay,
doing here?
No.
Obi,
I'm just
land,
going to say.
land.
I'm just going to say. I'm just going to say that there has been. I don't. We have to start from somewhere, but
Yeah.
we should not.
Hi, Wendy.
We should not preoccupy ourselves with the hair because there are different aspects of our identity, and hair is almost an insignificant part of it.
Oh,
We talk
no, no,
about
no,
Oh
no,
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 no, no, no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no. Let me
A
tell
woman's hair is a
can a
crown. You
woman
can't
let
say
me
that,
let
Obi.
me
You
land.
that have no
I'm
hair.
talking about the
Eh?
hair as
Obi,
How could you be
may I
saying that a
remind
woman's hair
you?
is a crown? A woman's hair
I
is
know.
a crown.
I know.
hair
But
is
I'm not talking
spiritual.
about. I'm not talking about crowns. I'm talking about identity.
But identity is
The
crown.
color,
It's
the
a
color of
crown.
our skin, the color of our skin, the bleaching that is going on, the kind of makeup we wear, the kind of clothes we wear, those need to be interpreted. It's not about hair. The hair is a small part of who we are.
Jenny, you
Like
got
I
more
said,
to talk about in
we
your
have,
show next time.
I have so
Bleaching,
much more to talk about,
makeup.
and you are all very, very much welcome to come back. I really have to close now. We are approaching the 1 hour. Thank you very much, Obi. I'm very surprised because when you came in, you said, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't have any hair. And now, look what happened. You are so passionate about the topic. So I would like to invite you another time.
before you go, Janine, your hair. What hair are you carrying? What hair are
Sorry?
you wearing? Are you
What
wearing
hair
natural
am
hair?
I wearing? The hair that
Yes.
God gave me.
Why did you present it in such a way that it looks straight?
Huh?
No, it's not straight, it's
It's not
curly.
straight, it's curly.
Because
Hmm.
she's
It's
mixed.
curly, Obi.
From where I'm standing, it looks
My hair
straight.
is not straight, Obi.
It's
Sorry.
curly.
Your hair, African natural hair doesn't drop like European hair. Your hair has dropped like European hair.
But
Oh,
she
you
has
Oh
are
my
Indian
so
God.
skin.
mistaken. First of all, natural hair comes in many textures.
I know.
Second of all, I am black, but I'm partial Asian. My dad is half Chinese. So that might be
What?
the reason why
That
I have
explains it. So
no, no, no.
so people
That might be
honestly,
that does not
honestly,
make me less of a black woman. Be
no, it doesn't
careful what
make you
you
less.
say. Be careful with
Janine,
what you say.
it doesn't make you less of a black woman, but it gives
I
you an
love this.
advantage.
This is like Jerry
It gives you
Springer.
an
Go for
advantage.
it.
And you have to understand the advantage that you have.
We
That you
are
can
in
drop
Jerry
your hair like
Guys,
this
Springer.
straight.
I think
No.
we're coming to
Sister,
the end of the show.
my wife doesn't have that
Jenny,
ability
thanks
to
very
drop her
much.
hair
Obi,
like that.
it's been a joy to see you.
Obi,
I've not seen you.
I'll get in touch. We have our other story to talk about that we need to convene. But thank you so much for accepting at the last minute. I mean,
Yeah.
we were honored that you could come onto the show. Honestly, it was really. And Rhoda, thank you so much, and lovely to meet you. Would
Nice to
love
meet
to.
you.
We have a lot of documentaries going on. I think if you guys are ready to capture Africans as they are, Black people as they are globally, we'll be happy to work with you.
Oh, that would
Obi,
be
and
great.
I'm
Obi,
I'm really with your next movie. Just give me a call, and I will help you do the natural hair consultancy, just like I did
yes.
with Rhoda. Trust me, it is not difficult.
Mind what you wish for.
Oh,
Oh,
you're,
okay.
now you're scaring me.
That's nice. Oh my. But thanks
Oh,
very
when
much, Jenny, for inviting me, and thank you very much. It's been a
you
joy.
are
I can't believe
very
it's an
much
hour.
welcome. I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed this. Yes, and I hope that next time you will also be willing to come to the show
I'm
and
not
talk
coming back. I'm
and
not coming back.
discuss this.
The women ganged up against me. I'm not coming back.
Are you scared?
I am scared.
Oh,
Women's
you know
hair is
you
a
want to
big
come back.
I
The
will wear
women
my
ganged up
natural hair
against
next
me.
time.
I'm not coming back.
Next time I'm going to wear my hair in an afro so that it looks more um, African.
Jenny, you have an advantage. Admit it.
No, I don't. And
Nice.
what
It
would
is.
that advantage be?
When it comes
Tell
to
me.
hair,
Say
you
yes.
have an advantage.
All right, then, guys, I've got to jump. I've got a call. So,
No,
All right.
Jump,
no.
jump. Bye
Uh,
bye, guys.
See you all.
Obi,
Bye
now you're
bye.
talking. You were quiet before.
I'm going to leave you guys. And before we leave, I want to show you the trailer of the upcoming movie that is going to be aired on the 25th of December. The movie is called Christmas with the King. And Rhoda was so kind to send me a trailer. So I'm going to leave you guys with a trailer for of the movie Christmas with the King. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Keep going. You have to get to the place.
I don't see anything. It's normal.
Thank you all and see you next time.
Bye.